Enter if you dare this ghastly conversation of teens fraught with despair and recent lacerations. Final girl, chase after her, don't let her get away. But first, the Slumber Podcast Massacre with TNA.
Welcome to Slumber Podcast Massacre with TNA. That's Tim.
That's Andy.
And this is a podcast about horror. Every week, Tim and I get together in any way that we can, and we talk about a different movie from the horror genre, from your well-known classics down to that rare gem that needs to be punished at the back of your video store shelf. This week, Tim and I are going to get jolly and talk about the 1984 holiday classic, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Tim, do you get excited about Christmas?
I do. But you know, I growing up, my dad worked swing shift. So his schedule was unpredictable from year to year. So what I kind of liked about it was that my family kept things kind of loose. Like sometimes we'd have Christmas on Christmas Eve if dad was going to be working on Christmas, and it was kind of all over the place. So it was never anything that felt overly strict to me. It was just always pretty fun. And you know, like a lot of people do, there were good years and bad lean years, you know, but I remember, you know, my parents always did, even in times where we didn't have much money, and there was a good stretch there. They always came through with like the one thing that I really wanted. And so there were always great memories of Christmas. And I have this huge, big extended family with, you know, 6 kids in my dad's family and 5 kids in my mom's family. So lots of cousins, aunts, uncles. Yeah. Great memories there. And the only thing that I was ever like a little trepidatious about was if like Secret Santa things, like if you ever had a Secret Santa, like I always like to get people the perfect gift. And so I really stress about it when you get given somebody who you have no idea who they are.
Right.
You do not know them at all, and you have to buy them a gift. I always pulled it off pretty well.
The only thing you know, I like TV. Okay. All right.
Right. Well, I remember I was in high school and we were in a class and we did a Secret Santa thing in the class. And I don't even remember what I bought the person, but it was a Secret Santa thing where whoever you had you. It wasn't like completely mixed up, like random. So I was paired up with this girl who I did not know. And I think she was older than me. She was in my sister's grade. So I think I probably asked my sister for some advice and got her something cool. Well, the day that we're going to do, you know, the exchange, I'm there feeling like, you know, I've been completely stressed out. I got my sister's advice. I'm feeling good about it. I put a lot of thought and work into it. And then she's like, oh, I forgot a notebook in my car. I got to go get my notebook. And I'm like, oh, okay. So she goes and gets her notebook and then brings back, and I'm doing air quotes if you can't see it, if you're listening, my present, which was nothing more than the
notebook,
the cassette of the soundtrack to the Tom Cruise classic Cocktail. The fucking Cocktail soundtrack. Used, by the way.
So she just got it out of her car.
Yeah, she literally ran down to her car and desperately tried to find a present for me. Grabbed Cocktail.
Yeah. I'm guessing she didn't grab the best tape out of her car either.
No, that's the shitty thing. Yeah.
I can't hear the Beach Boys anymore.
And someone it was probably a re-gift.
Oh, sure. She got that in a White Elephant gift exchange.
Yeah. It worked before. It'll work again.
What did you get her, though? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I know it was good. It was at least good or expensive or something. I don't know. It was something to where it was like foolproof.
Yeah.
But
so you actually had each other, because sometimes how those work, it's like person A is person B, person B is person C. Okay.
We got paired up with people, and I drew the.
That's
the
even
short
worse
straw.
because then you can make like just a direct comparison. Like you put no effort into what I did, you know?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
shit.
But yes,
Well,
overall, I love Christmas. I don't go fucking bonkers. Have you noticed that there's been people like in the last, let's say 5-10 years that have made Christmas sort of a lifestyle almost?
Oh.
Like there are people that lose their fucking minds the second that Halloween ends, if
Yeah.
not before.
Yeah. No, yeah. And they cannot wait. I don't understand it. I don't get that excited about it. So, but yeah, who just every trope of Christmas is the greatest thing ever. They love any imagery, fucking Christmas music. Like if I see someone on a social media post be like, I can't wait for Christmas music, I drop them. They're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone from my life. Yeah.
Punish them.
Yeah. Yes. Punish them. They need to be punished, Tim. That's funny you say that because that's a perfect transition into the movie we're talking about today, Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. This was written by Michael Hickey, directed by Charles E Sellier, and it stars
Or Sellier if he's being fancy.
Oh, okay. It stars megastar Robert Brian Wilson as Billy. And like, I guess Lillian Chauvin as Mother Superior is the other lead role, I guess, in this.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, those are really the only two people worth noting.
Yeah.
Definitely the most recognizable names in the movie.
But yet, this movie has an enormous cast.
Oh my God, the cast is
It's got to be
huge.
like 50 people in this
That is
cast.
what I said at the end as those credits are rolling. I was like, what? How are there this many people in this movie?
Right.
Because it doesn't feel like it. It's a lot of extras for sure, like a lot of kids. But yes, even the sheer amount of adults in this movie, I was floored because it doesn't feel like it. And I don't know what they did.
Well, I think it kind of partly due to the fact that the movie is, in a strange way, it sort of reminds me of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Not just because of the Christmas like theme, but it's like super episodic. Like it's like we have this scene here, and then we're going to have this scene here. So what I'm saying is, like what you just described as extras, we might be introduced to like another set of cops, like an hour and 15 minutes into the movie that we've never seen before. But now here these guys are. And so, yeah, they cram a lot of characters in there. And it's kind of weird because you mentioned that the movie was made in 1984, but because of a series of things, all of which we'll talk about because it's pretty interesting stuff. We didn't really get our hands as a general public. We didn't get our hands on this movie until years later, like 87, I think is when it came out on video. So it seemingly came way after, your, the real hot streak of the Friday the 13th movies, Nightmare on Elm Street. It seemed to be lagging a couple years behind that, but it actually was made right at the exact same time.
Yeah. And it's funny. Yeah. Cause, I should say, so the budget of this was like $750,000. It made $2.5 million in 10 days, but that's all it made because they pulled it from theaters.
Right.
Which is crazy.
And what happened there is that they'll tell you that TriStar Pictures pulled it from theaters because of the negative backlash from the on-air advertising, the television commercials, and also the picketing out front of some theaters. And that's true. But what they don't tell you is that TriStar was just about to do another public offering of their stock. Oh. And they did not want to have any negative press because they were about to do a big push for people to buy stock in the company. So they yanked it out of there. But you're right. It was literally released on the same day as Nightmare on Elm Street and outgrossed Nightmare on Elm Street in that week and a half that it was out.
Yeah. But people just didn't like, because the ads they're a little creepy. They're not violent or scary. They're just kind of creepy because there's the one where it's just kind of Santa reading, right? Like Night Before Christmas, or am I making that up? I didn't watch any of these trailers, but I feel like I remember them.
If it's not real, I wish it was, because that sounds kind of cool and creepy.
Yeah.
I hope it's real.
But like,
yeah.
just like when you think about, because the term snowflake is tossed around a lot these days, like nothing says snowflake more than I like protesting this movie about. It's not even about Christmas. It's just a kid who kills people dressed as Santa.
Right. And the thing is, there's a whole lot of logic as to why they have a killer Santa Claus.
Right.
And we'll certainly get into that. But it's worth saying right now, before we really delve into it, there's so much to talk. I have a lot to talk about. I love this movie. It's worth saying right off the get-go, right from the beginning, that the filmmakers really did not expect this backlash, because they unbelievably made this movie for adults. And that's where the problem was, is that I actually took the time to read some of the original letters that were sent in by parents in protest of this movie. And damn near every single one of them is like, you're ruining my child's memory of Christmas. Jesus. You're ruining this for my children. How could you do this to the children of the world and take this away from them? And it's because it's not for them.
Yeah, it says Deadly Night in the title.
Right. And it's rated R.
It's not like it's British where it's like, oh, deadly beautiful night, deadly great.
Right. Yeah, that's used. Yeah, they do that in Ireland. Interestingly enough, they say it in it's become really popular very recently in native speak. That's really? Deadly. Yeah, that means that, like, somebody's hot or something cool. Yeah. But back then, no, deadly was deadly. Deadly meant, homicidal.
Yeah. And the poster is Santa's arm, like, coming out with an axe, who's like, should we take Johnny to this?
Yeah. You don't need an axe to get down a chimney. Like, if he's holding one, it's because he's going to do something with it.
Yeah. Also, this movie does not pass the Bechdel-Wallace test. There are two female characters talking, but they're talking about Billy.
Oh, damn it. So close.
Another man. So close.
So close. Does it have to be so it's talking about another male? It doesn't, boy or man doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's a male.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I guess as we'd say today, someone who identifies as a male.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Something like that. Okay. Okay. Well,
we might have to amend the test. I don't know how the specifics of it work.
We can't make everybody happy, damn it. Whoever they are. I use the they.
No, they is the preferred pronoun, Tim. Yeah. Good
job. So kind of an interesting history. And there's so much to talk about with this movie itself. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it does have kind of an interesting history. There was a guy that was at Harvard, and he was in a script writing or screenplay class. And so he wrote a screenplay and he called it Sleigh Ride. And it just so happened that someone who had also gone to Harvard, a guy by the name of Scott Schneid, now worked for William Morris, a talent agency. And so because of the Harvard connection, this Paul, I'm going to go with the pronunciation Caimi. It's Caimi.
Okay.
Caimi. So Paulie C wrote a screenplay, got it to, had that connection.
I'm guessing it's spelled S-L-A-Y, ride.
Yes, S-L-A-Y. Yes.
Because I think that's a song in this movie too. There's a song called Sleigh Ride.
It could be. Yeah. And what's really weird is that, like, some sort of weird lore with this movie, for whatever reason, they started a rumor that there's a book out there called Sleigh Ride that this movie is based off of, but it doesn't exist because there never was a book to start with. I don't know why someone would start that rumor, but anyway. So Paul writes this. They ended up taking it. They gave Paul a writing credit, but he really didn't write anything. It was just the idea of a sort of Santa slasher. So they gave him that
story credit.
Right. They hired Michael Hickey and they said, just give us a 30-page treatment. Not a full screenplay, just give us something to work with. So they did that. And what the really cool thing that they decided to do, and this might sound really simplistic, but you got to think about this for a second. Instead of focusing on the victims and getting to know the victims, seeing the victims interacting with each other and that sort of thing, they decided instead to focus on the backstory of the killer. Now, usually if we're watching a horror movie, we get a little bit of backstory. It's like an urban legend or something like that.
Yeah.
It's what equates to about 5 or 6 lines of dialogue, and then that's our backstory. Yeah. But this one, they totally switch gears, and they're like, we're just going to focus on how he got there. How do you get to be a killer Santa Claus? Here's how. So that's what they went with, which was cool.
And yeah, they spend a good 30 minutes before anything goes wrong.
They spend enough time on
a lot goes wrong, but with him, I guess.
Right. They spend enough time for you to feel like, okay, this is what the movie, like it takes place at an orphanage. Like they put a lot of time in. Well, the treatment that they wrote won over some investors, and it gave them the money to go ahead and pay Hickey to write a full screenplay, which he does. And what happened next is kind of weird and sort of unfortunate. They signed the rights over to a producer named Ira Barmach. And he was the guy that was going to be able to make the movie happen. So they signed the rights over to him because he already has a deal with TriStar Pictures to make low budget movies. Now, unfortunately, once they signed those rights over to Ira, he basically cut them out. So the guys that had kind of put the whole project together to start with basically got kind of shown the door by the time that he took charge of the movie. So kind of unfortunate, but it happens. TriStar loved the idea because they saw the money that Halloween made. They saw what Friday was doing with their franchise, and they're like, yes, this is our franchise. Like, boom. Yeah, we want it.
Yeah.
And so things are kind of taken off from there. And just to kind of wrap things up here, they got a little bit nervous because TriStar didn't really do horror movies. So they brought in a guy by the name of Charles Sellier or Sellier. And he was kind of a tried and true guy. Like he did The Adventures of Grizzly Adams and some TV shows and movies. He was the guy that they were like, you know what, if we put him in charge, at least it's not going to completely fucking explode. So let's get somebody over there who's proven themselves. So they do that. And he is not a real big horror guy. As I mentioned, Grizzly Adams. Right. So he pulls in this guy named Michael Spence, and Michael Spence was an editor for him. And he's like, hey, Michael, come work on this movie with me as a second unit director and editor. And I'll kind of throw you a bone and you can direct a few scenes. Well, he ended up throwing him more than a bone. Like, I mean, Michael Spence basically co-directed this movie. He did the sledding scene. He did all of the toy store deaths, a few other things. So they really kind of co-directed it, even though he doesn't get credited as that. They changed the title in post-production because another movie was coming out that had a similar title to Sleigh Ride. And that movie never got made.
Okay. I was going to say, like, why was no one that had a beef with that movie then? But
yeah,
probably why. Yes. No one, it didn't exist.
Yeah. Sleigh Ride, when you see it spelled out with the SLAY, looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But they went ahead and they went for it and they made the movie. So you've got, long story short, you've got some pretty competent guys at the basic level of this film. And it comes across because the movie doesn't get in its own way. It's pretty straightforward in its cinematography, the way that it's shot. So that's why I love it.
Too straightforward.
Okay. And I get it. I will say this though. I like the fact that it's straightforward because now I get to just sit back and laugh at every performance and every line that is uttered in this entire film.
That's fair. Because there's a lot of laughable stuff. Should we do Nan Sum real quick?
Yeah.
And then we'll die. Well, I mean, do you got more background on
No.
Okay.
Now we can have fun.
Okay. So here's Nan Sum. 5-year-old Billy Chapman is orphaned after his parents are brutally murdered on Christmas Eve by a man dressed as Santa. He spends the rest of his childhood inside a Catholic orphanage with an abusive mother superior. When he turns 18, one of the sisters helps him find a job to introduce himself back into society. However, once the holiday season rolls around, Billy is confronted by the visage that has haunted him all these years, Santa Claus. Billy snaps and spends Christmas Eve on a murderous rampage dressed as Santa, bringing punishment to all the naughty boys and girls, with his trail of blood leading back to the orphanage and Mother Superior. Ooh. Ho, ho, ho.
Abuse in a Catholic orphanage?
What? This is the most shocking part of the movie.
Yeah. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. So this, I'll say that this is a movie that, here's what's crazy. Because when you were like, let's do this movie, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that movie. Like, I very vividly remember a lot of that movie. I saw it when it was probably like 90 or 87, like whenever it came out. I was at a birthday party. It was February. It had probably just come out on video. We watched that and The Exorcist. And so I had all these like very vivid images of this movie, and watching it, all my vivid images were all happening at the beginning of the movie. So now, just to jump ahead real quick, when the parents are killed by this, just a reprobate dressed as Santa, he's just like your common robber essentially, but he like kills the dad and then tries to rape the mom. And then kind of after that, I don't remember any of it. And I'm like, I think when I was a kid, like that just set me off and I just hid my face the rest of the time. I do vaguely remember, because there's like a brief sex scene at the orphanage, and I remember that, like I remember seeing boob.
Yeah.
Which, Jesus Christ, this movie has no shortage of. My God.
Right.
Nearly, even if it passed the Bechdel-Wallace test, it would be revoked just based on the gratuitous tit in this movie. But I think like the realness of that scene scared me so much, I just like shut down, because the rest of the movie, I'm like, I don't remember any of this. I know I listened to the rest of it, but yeah, it was this weird, like, holy crap, I must have just shut down. Because I remember watching The Exorcist, so I don't know what it was about. It was something very real about the parents' murder that freaked me out.
Yeah, I can understand that. And that brings up a really good point. This movie, now, granted, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with editing and switching cameras, and there are a lot of ways that you can protect a child actor when making a horror movie. Basically, like the kid that played Danny in The Shining didn't even really know he was in a horror movie.
Yeah,
like,
isn't that crazy how that happens? How do you do that?
So you could do it with like, again, like, you can have the camera on the child as they're listening to someone, then cut back to what looks like a normal cut to who's speaking. But when that person is speaking, the child has already left the room and they're delivering whatever hardcore stuff they're delivering to nobody. Okay. Right. So there's ways that you can do it, but I'm telling you, I would be really shocked if they were able to pull off like pure innocence in the making of this movie, because there is like,
how do you say, like, tell a kid, like, no, say you don't want to see Santa and you're afraid of him, but it's funny. We're just having a goof. How do you do that to a child?
Yeah. Sit on Santa's lap and have him tell you that he's going to punish you severely, but just forget about it afterward.
Right.
If you would. So a lot of hardcore handling of children, but you never know. Some of these kids are up for it, and they can handle it. But you're right. That scene, part of it is that the kid that plays the young Billy is pretty sweet. Like, he comes across as is pretty genuine.
Yeah.
And we get kind of set up for creepiness because the movie starts with them. First of all, there's an amazingly awesome title card with the caroling in the beginning. And then we get some sort of animated, almost like Scooby-Doo style animation where it says Silent Night, Deadly Night. And then there's blood dripping.
Yeah.
And that rules. But yeah, the family is going to make a quick visit to Grandpa, who is catatonic, but it's the thought that counts.
I think a quick visit is underselling it.
Right.
They drive out to this place and are literally there for 2.5 minutes.
Yes.
Back in the car. We got a full day's drive back home.
And there's Grandpa, and we see him, and we quickly figure out that he's catatonic. And I don't know if he's catatonic or just really, really focused on wanting like a yellow rain slicker and a bowl of clam chowder, because if that dude isn't like your fucking like stereotypical fisherman. Yeah. But he's either way, he's quiet. And so then when the family goes away for a second and Billy is there by himself with Grandpa turns to him and not only starts talking, but pretty quickly starts crying and telling Billy that Santa Claus is evil and that he's going to punish you and to be afraid of him. So right off the bat, we're a little unsettled by weird Grandpa.
Yeah.
And then comes the scene you're talking about. And oh, doggy, I think maybe what makes it extra unsettling is that not only do we have a cute young Billy, but there's a fucking baby in the car, and it's not in a car seat, by the way.
That's what I said. They're just holding it in the front seat. I was like,
yeah,
that's so crazy to see now.
Yeah, just if we get into an accident, just really hang on to it if you would,
Click, I'll be your safety belt. But yeah, because we see the Santa earlier, because it is, the drive to and from the nursing home are kind of cut with this scene at a convenience store where a Santa comes in and he robs the shopkeeper and ends up killing him and leaves. So you're like, okay, this guy is bad. And then the family kind of rolls up on him because his quote car is broke or whatever. He's just kind of on the side of the road. So you already know this guy's bad. Billy's freaking out like, oh no, it's Santa. We're screwed.
Yeah, because fucking freaky ass Grandpa's got him all wound up.
Right. And so, yeah, then Santa pulls a gun and kills the dad, pulls the mom out of the car, attempts to rape her. She punches him, so he slashes her neck. And meanwhile, Billy's just kind of hiding in the bushes watching all this. And that's when 9-year-old Andy shut down.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you shut down there. Like, I thought you were talking about the other rape scene. You didn't even make
that one.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
no.
Okay.
Because I think that was so, because these aren't people that are just like, because when Billy gets older, you understand like, oh, well, Grandpa said Santa was evil and then his parents were killed. So of course this does this, but this is just some random guy. I don't know why he's a bad guy. He's just a bad guy. And he's killed his parent, It's just that very visceral of this could happen. That scenario far more plausible could happen than anything else in the movie,
Yeah, no, it's a powerful piece of imagery because and it's a very real thing that happens when you're watching these movies as a kid. I remember I was really super stoked that Sven Gulli, our local horror host, was going to be showing a movie. I think it was called Them. It was an ant movie, like a giant ant movie. Okay. But it's in black and white. It was made probably in the late 50s. And my mom even got our TV that we got for free when we bought our Dodge Omni. And they gave us a TV, like buy a car, get a TV. Yeah. So she had it set up on the kitchen table so I wouldn't be disturbed. And I was like so excited about this for a week. I got about 10 minutes into it and I turned it off and I went into the living room and my mom's like, what are you doing? Why aren't you watching your movie? And I said, no. And she said, well, why not? And I said, well, because I was just imagining what it would be like if it happened to us. And she was like, oh, okay. And that was it. So yeah, now granted I was like 5,
right?
And it was killer ants, but
thankfully you have put that empathy in a jar on a shelf. You don't have that anymore.
No.
You're some dumb kid.
Yeah.
Thought about other people.
yelling to my daughters, get your asses over here. Watch these giant ants. This could happen at any moment. But yeah, so that's a very real phenomenon. But there is some funny some fun and hilarity worked in there. Like when that guy walks out, so he robs that gas station like you're talking about. He goes outside, he looks down at how much money he got out of the cash register, and he goes, $31? Merry fucking Christmas. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like just a hilarious line. But you're right. I think it's the sexual element that in that scene that makes it especially bad. First of all, it sucks that, I mean, I don't want to talk about like, I'm not trying to say that it's up to dad to protect the family, but the fact that dad is like instantly killed,
Yeah.
like he is of no use to anybody. That dude is dead.
Yeah.
Shot in the forehead. And then, so when our first killer Santa, just the happenstance killer Santa, pulls mom out of the car, I'm with you because nobody really expects it to get sexual. And then he rips her blouse open.
Yeah.
Which by the way, I mean, I'm not trying to play into any misogyny here, but the mom's pretty attractive.
Very attractive.
Yeah, very, very good looking woman. But you really, you feel like this guy is more of just a run of the mill, thug.
Yeah.
Like you don't expect it to go to anything sexual.
No.
But it does.
I mean, I had seen boobs before, but I think that was obviously the first time I had ever seen it in a violent scenario.
Okay.
So I think that just fucked my head.
Yeah.
Thankfully it like painted me aware of what that is and how wrong it is. I mean, yeah.
Rape is bad.
Yeah, rape is bad. I learned that at a very young age.
Yeah, and that's good. And, deep down, I think that, if you were raised right, that those instincts, that you're aware of that more than you know, somehow at a very young age. I know that there were some movies that I caught on HBO when I was pretty young, like maybe 8 years old or whatever, that had some scenes of rape. And those were far more disturbing. I could watch all the Rambo and, action movies in the world, but there was something about sexual violence that even though you don't really understand it, you know that it affects you in an unsettling way, that's a good sign that you're not a psychopath. That's good.
Yeah. I worry about all the other kids in that room who are just like going to keep, I'm in now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you go back in your memory and look around that room and anybody was like smiling and cheering, like unfriend that guy on Facebook.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not really friends with a lot of those guys anymore anyway. So.
Yeah. Fuck those guys. But no, we go on to what you had mentioned in Nan Sum at the Catholic orphanage. And this is kind of a heartbreaker because who doesn't love that kind of standard character that's like really hardcore and strict, but then you come to find out that deep down it's because they really care about the person and have their best interest in mind. And I wanted, of course, the movie only gives you about 15 seconds before you realize that's not going to happen. But I really wanted to like that Mother Superior because she had a little bit of that. She's got of course she's a nun, so they got to give her like a slight Irish lilt, if you're a priest or a nun or a cop, in a movie, you got to be a little Irish somehow. But right. and but pretty quickly you realize like she's just horrible, like a horrible fucking person. And so the key, Billy is there now. He's an orphan. He's got a killer mullet, which rules. But he's
some
there.
Buck teeth.
Yeah.
Some big old fish lips.
Yeah, definitely has some growing into his face to do, but he'll get there. And he does. He ends up being, what's funny, just to skip ahead for 2 seconds. The actor that plays the adult Billy, I'm looking at him and I'm like, there's just something I like about this guy. And I'm looking at him a little bit and I'm like, oh yeah. And what's funny is on my mom's side of the family, there's 5 or 6 male cousins, including me. And we all look the same. Like we all look pretty much identical. Even my uncle that married a Japanese woman, their son is the Japanese version of us. Like we all look the same. And I'm looking at his face.
How
and
often
like,
does that guy talk about his Japanese heritage?
You know what? I've never met him.
What?
He lives in California.
Oh, are you just saving that for like this is my swan song? Like meeting my half Japanese cousin.
Oh, yeah. We'll get there someday. I reached out to him pretty emphatically, and he just, didn't share the same excitement, AKA did not respond. But anyway, I'm looking at this guy's facial features, and I'm like, this could be one of my cousins. Like, I'm not saying that I look exactly like the guy, but it's really neat what they do when he gets into his Santa costume. Is that because they make the great decision to have him pull the beard down, it frames his face really nicely. Mm-hmm. And you come to see him as, despite just the Santa Claus, like he looks fucking iconic. Like whether Santa Claus was intended to be a badass from the start or not, he should have been, because he looks fucking cool as a killer. But yeah, so there's that. But back to the orphanage. We kind of get introduced to where Billy's head is at, because he's a kid, lost his parents, witnessed what happened, but he's kind of repressed it. Mm-hmm. And we're first introduced to him. Yeah. The funny thing is he's told to bring up a Christmas drawing in front of the class, and he brings it up, and it's Santa with a bunch of knives stuck in them and a reindeer that's cut into a bunch of pieces. I will say, though, well drawn for a kid of his age.
Ignoring this kid's artistic talent. I thought that too. I thought they'd be like, look at this. He's a genius.
Right. Like he's a sociopath, but he's,
but no, because they're fucking Catholic, they got to just focus on the negative.
Yeah. It's all about that guilt.
An entire organization based around the death of someone is all of a sudden offended at the pagan representation. Wouldn't they? I was like, yes. Wouldn't they be like, yeah, actually Santa's bullshit. This is all about our Lord.
You would think they would be.
Right. Yeah. I was like, oh, they're going to love this, but no, they're like, Santa's sacred.
Yeah. So, and that's really where we get that taste of Mother Superior, genuinely being evil. And I'll tell you, if you've ever been whipped bare ass by a belt, it fucking hurts. Like, I'm just telling you right now, it is not any kind of fun. Yeah. So
he's not bare ass though. He's got his jeans up. I noticed that.
Oh, does he really?
Because he doesn't he just gets
bastard.
Up and he's got his, yeah. I'm like, okay. Spanked 5 times through the jeans.
He lives a charmed life, that Billy. But yeah, so they're really evil there. And I mean, I had a taste of that just real quick when I was in elementary school. We did the horrible thing of having a snowball fight at recess, and God forbid, literally. And so I'm in a private school, Lutheran school, and the principal of the school takes me down into the basement, which, by the way, was otherwise unused because of asbestos exposure. So they didn't allow kids down there, but if you were going to get swatted, they took you down there.
Right.
And I'm 7 years old.
Well, you can only go down there if you're going to be doing a lot of deep inhaling.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. You're just like crying and like sucking air. Like only if you can get like sick, like really bad. Like if we need you near death to go down there. So yeah, I go down there. I'm 7 years old. I'm a fucking 7-year-old. You can picture a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And they had me put my hands up against the wall, kind of like when you're getting like searched by a policeman or whatever. And that guy swatted me with a wooden paddle. And I thought it was going to be maybe once or twice. I was kind of bracing for it.
Yeah.
It must have been 10 fucking times that guy just falled off and wailed on me. And, they didn't call my
off afterwards.
What's that?
He probably went and jerked off afterwards.
Well, at least somebody got something out of it. I don't know if I told this story before on the show, but yeah, what was really weird was that I went back upstairs after he had his way with me, and the cool in the gang single Celebrate was really popular at the time, and there was some kids singing like celebrate good times, come on, and then my ass is just fucking bleeding, and I'm like, there's nothing to celebrate about any of this. But yeah, I made it through. But what I'm saying is that shit is real. It happens, and nobody watches anything because it's a private school.
Right.
They got a handle on it.
Yeah. It's just their belief. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You just got to let it happen. And I will say, I am surprised that they made such a big chunk of it in the orphanage, because that's easily just like a throwaway exposition line that you can have later. Like, oh yeah, he grew up in an orphanage, a Catholic orphanage. Even just saying that, you are already, your brain fills in like, I'm sure it was strict. Everyone knows what a Catholic school is like, or at least the reputation a Catholic school has. So to show that much, I realize it's because eventually he's like working his way back to the orphanage to kill this Mother Superior, who in the greatest tragedy of the movie doesn't die, gets away scot-free after abuse. Like, I refuse to believe this is the only kid she's abused. So she's probably a serial abuser. But she gets off scot-free.
Man, I know that there's 5 sequels that come after this, and I don't think I've seen any of them, but I hope she gets in the next one.
Oh, yeah, because I know the next 2. I haven't seen any of the sequels either. I know the second one is has one of the greatest scenes. That's the Garbage Day scene.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If anyone's ever been on the internet and has ever seen Garbage Day, that's Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. And that's his younger brother is in 3. That's like the baby now has become Jason or whatever.
Right. Become Billy.
4 and 5 are just
Santa.
like anthology movies. Like they're just like, this centers around Christmas, but has nothing to do with the corresponding plots of the
right.
So
yeah, Billy grows up though.
Yes.
And thankfully there's one nun there who does have a little bit of a deeper psychological understanding of what he might be going through and kind of takes
like every Christmas is like she recognizes a pattern in his behavior. And of course it's ignored by everyone.
Yeah.
But she never lets up. She is always there for him, checking up. She's great. And I didn't write down her name.
And you know what I kind of like about her though, is that when he's older now, let's just say probably maybe he's supposed to be like 17?
Supposed to be 18, yeah.
18, okay.
Well, I should say that actress who plays Sister Margaret, I forgot. Her name is awesome. Glimmer McCormick.
Oh, yeah. It's a great name.
Glimmer. Or Glimmer? I don't know. It's Glimer.
I like Glimmer.
Oh no, wait. It's Gilmer. Gilmer. Okay, sorry.
Gilmer. And that's Mother Superior, though, isn't it?
No. That's Lillian Chauvin is Mother Superior.
Oh, yeah. But what I kind of like about it is that there's nothing overly sexual about it, but the nice nun, we'll just say, is trying to find Billy some gainful employment. He's 18 years old now. She knows that he needs to get out into the world and get a job. So she goes to a toy store, aptly named Ira's Toys, after Ira, the producer of the movie. And it's funny because
wait, now you're saying there's nothing sexual about this?
Well, I mean, I guess that there is, but it's just very subtle and sweet how the toy store owner is like, this is not a job for a boy. I need a man. Like, cause it's,
it's working in the warehouse, lifting a lot of boxes. I don't have time for this.
And she's kind of like got a little like glint in her eye, and she's like, well, you might think differently when you see him. Yeah. And then we see Billy, and it's like the pan up from the floor, and he's like well muscled and tall, and just a really healthy looking dude. And
Ira's tune changes real quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is.
To where I was like, oh, he's into Billy. Maybe he kind of gives that look. He looks up and he's like, oh, well, you start tomorrow.
Right.
But then nothing ever comes of that. Like, I really thought that was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
But no, I guess he was just like, he is versed for a stock boy.
Right. And then we get a beautiful and completely unexpected montage. A nice musical montage.
That song is insane.
Usually reserved for like 80s screwball comedies, like, hey, we're gonna fix up the fraternity house and clean everything up and or toss food at each other while we're making a meal or something goofy. But no, it's just him like learning the ways of a fucking stock boy. Doing good for himself.
Setting up displays.
Yes.
Getting things up. Dude, this toy store, there were so many cool. There was a crawl board game in the background and I lost my shit.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Oh yeah. There's so many cool, popular toys, seeing those Halloween costumes, the vinyl costumes.
Yeah.
That was great. But yeah, so many weird toys in there where I was like, oh my God, I had that toy. And I just thought like no one ever heard of that toy before. But here it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wrote the note down somewhere where I just said, remember toy stores? Like, I know that there's still a few out there, but it doesn't feel like you remember KB Toys in the mall when you were a kid? You walk into that place and it was like, oh man, all your dreams came true. Like
you had to go there if we were at the mall. Like you at least got 10 minutes to look around.
KB Toys and Hot Sam's. Yes. So
and the children's place, that little circle thing you sat in.
Yeah. Love that. Where I'd go to buy my husky size jeans.
Dude, they had like little kid versions of the Beat It jacket, and I was begging my mom, and she said no, and thank you, Mom. I would have looked ridiculous.
Oh my God, I wish a picture existed. I wish you had gotten the jacket and then you had a picture.
I mean, I got Corey Feldman's haircut from the Goonies once, and that lasted 3 hours before I washed that thing out. And I was like, no, I just can't do it.
Yeah, you don't look a ton like Michael Jackson. So yeah, it would have.
Well, not young Michael Jackson. I look a bit like older Michael Jackson.
Yeah, maybe so. I did have that one. I didn't have the one that had like that chain mesh on the shoulder, but I had the one that had that V. Like it was a black jacket with the red leather V that came down. Yeah. And I think that was jacket. Is that the Beat? I thought the Beat It jacket was the one where he's got the like chain mesh on the shoulder.
That might be the bad jacket. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yes. Sorry, Silent Night, Deadly Night. We're coming right back to you here.
Anyway, so we haven't even got to the second rape yet.
So, okay. Now, here's an important question, and it's very timely because this is exactly when it happened when I was watching the movie. This is just a technical thing. Did the fucking HD just take a shit while you were watching this?
Like halfway through, it's all of a sudden, I was like, holy crap, is this going to be like this the rest of the movie? And oddly enough, it's not. Because the quality, it comes and goes from shot to shot. I was like, what the fuck kind of transfer were they using? Or the good one they had just had some parts that were crap, and then the best they could get was a crap version of it. It was so weird. So I don't know if the original looks like that, or if it was just that's the way the whatever version we have now looks. Yeah,
it's kind of like in like if you get like a special features disc on a DVD or something, and they haven't they'll show you a deleted scene, but it didn't get like fully developed or something like that.
Yeah, like the production hasn't been put into it. So
yeah. So, but that's what it looked like. And it didn't look terrible. It just kind of looked like how it looked on VHS in 1987, But yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that wasn't
good. I was going to ask you if that happened to you too. Cause we have the montage. Everything's going great. And now it's Christmas. And the guy playing Santa has injured himself or something. He's not going to show up. So they make Billy dress as Santa, and they've already kind of shown as they get out like a holiday banner and he sees Santa's face, like boom, his like enthusiasm drops. So they make him be Santa, which is very stressful for him, but he's a company man to the bitter fucking end. So he's like, I'll do it. There's a great scene where he's got this kid on his lap and she's like squirming and he's like, just stop squirming. And then he just threatens her like, I'm going to punish you. To which it shuts her up. I mean, it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and everyone loves him. I should say the shop owner, I recognized him. He is Anthony Michael Hall's dad in
yes, that's
Weird Science. Yes. So anytime he's on the screen, I'm just like, who is this Gary character?
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that. I didn't know where I knew that dude from.
Yeah. So yeah, that he's like the biggest face, at least in this movie for me.
Right.
It's like, oh, I know that guy.
He's got a great line too when they're finally done for the night, and he's outside and he's like, 7 o'clock, it's over. Time to get shit faced. Which no one says shit faced anymore.
No, it's like wrecked or lit. Fuck that. Yeah. Shit faced. Bring it back.
Shit faced. And then who is the female character? Is that his wife that is there also hanging out? I don't
know, because she calls him like Mr. Sims or whatever all the time.
Yeah.
So I think she's just maybe a store manager. I don't know. This small toy store has a very large employee base, I'd say, that I'm not sure what a lot of them do. There's one guy who runs the warehouse, which is just a back room, and he just kind of seems to sit there a lot. His name's Andy. He's awesome, but he's not awesome.
And the fact that like we get a weird scene where the store owner, like when you were describing when he has Billy play Santa Claus, he comes back into the storeroom like kind of like with the sort of air of like, hey, I've been meaning to come see you and see how things are going. Like you get the impression that Billy has worked there for months. Right. And there's no, it's the store and the storeroom. Like, how do you not see him every day, all day?
Right.
Like it's crazy. Like he's in some 35th floor office somewhere and he never messes with the help. Yeah. But yeah, finally, maybe there's not a whole lot of employees there, but man, do they have a rockin' Christmas party.
They do. They are getting lit.
Yes,
and now this leads into now the movie's taking a turn for the worse. Because so you've got Andy, the stockroom, whatever, guy,
manager,
yeah, foreman. And so there's like a female employee that Billy's talked to earlier, and you're automatically like, oh, okay, this is going to be like the person he connects with. This will be your quote final girl or whatever. Wrong. Final girl's a fucking nun. But it's just kind of set up like, oh, these two might have a relationship or there's going to be something here. But no, all of a sudden she's just like hooking up with Andy, and you're like, okay. And then so Billy goes into the back room where Andy's getting real handsy, and he attempts to rape this girl who I think was Pamela. Is that her name? I think it was Pamela. And that makes Billy snap, and it's murderous Santa rampage time. Because he kills he kills Andy, and then Pamela is like pissed at him.
Yes,
he kills her.
He just saved you from being raped. Like,
right, yeah. But he just did it in a not nice. I guess if you see someone murdered in front of you, you might not be like, "Oh, thank you."
Well, let's talk about that murder for a second, because when you strangle someone with a string of Christmas lights, I just love being able to say a sentence like that for the masses to hear. When he's someone with Christmas lights, you don't expect there to be like a fountain of blood to come pouring down the neck. Like,
don't make your Christmas lights out of barbed wire. Stop using that.
No,
razor wire.
Yeah. I mean,
and he has this supernatural strength because he wraps the lights around Andy's neck and then picks him up. Like he hangs him with one arm by these. So strongest Christmas lights ever, deadliest Christmas lights ever, and
strongest stock boy ever.
Superhuman 18-year-old.
Yeah, he's like a half step down from Darth Vader, just launching that guy off the ground. But yeah, then she, Pamela, we're going with Pamela. It's a very 80s sounding name.
I think it's Pamela. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, she's upset. And then he gives her the the X-Acto knife, or not like box cutter, like the box cutter disembowelment, but which just looks painful.
Yeah.
And then from there, we get a nice toy kill with the bow and arrow.
Yeah. Well, first the Ira gets it first.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
but I don't remember how Ira dies.
Ira gets it with a hammer.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Because Ira comes in, he keeps hearing something. It's funny. He doesn't hear the screaming rape, but like someone drops something after that. And he's like, did you hear that? What was that? It's a commotion in the back room all of a sudden.
Right.
So yeah, he comes back. Billy gets him in the head with the claw end of a hammer. And then Miss, what's her name? Maybe she's Pamela. Mrs. Randall.
Yeah, she is Ira's Jewish friend who apparently knows every Christmas carol known to man. but God love her, she's there.
Yeah, I did love her. Hey, she's probably the smartest person in the movie because she finds him dead. She's attacked by Billy and she gets away and then wisely sets a decoy. I was very impressed because she's got this little pillbox hat. And Billy sees it, attacks it, and then she like pushes him from behind and tries to run for the door. And yes, now we're in a toy store. Remember, it is 1980s, and there is a bow and arrow in there.
Yeah, half of anything in a toy store in 1980 could kill you.
Oh yeah, I remember I was telling my kid like my neighbor had a bow and arrow, and there was one day where we were just like, let's shoot it up in the air and try and dodge it. And we did that. And my mom, I remember my mom running outside and flipping out. I'm like, what's the big deal? We dodged it.
Right.
What are you getting so upset about?
Right.
Did a lot of dumb shit with my neighbor when I was a kid. He was a very bad influence. I'm going to say that right now.
Just your pathway towards, BB gun shenanigans.
Yes, dude. Yes. He had so many weapons. He had BB guns. He had throwing stars. He had knives. His dad was, we think, a Nazi. So,
oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's right.
So yeah, like a lot of retrospective look backs on my childhood and the people I spent time with and the people my parents let me spend time with.
Yeah, it's their fault.
It's their fault. That's not anything I've done wrong now is basically my parents' fault.
Right. What here's something that I like about where this movie goes from here, because between the Catholic orphanage and the toy store, like we've had plenty of setup now. Let's just let this guy go and have some fun. Like let's let him go and do some killing. And that's what he does.
But here is where I'm kind of like a lot of these kills just feel just kind of disjointed. And while the kills themselves are cool, I mean, the scenes are good. They just seem kind of there. You know what I'm saying? Because first he just stops by a random house. There's a couple in there. They're getting ready to bang on the pool table. The most gratuitous boob scene in the movie. Like this girl goes to like check the front door and just opens it wide open with no shirt on. I'm like, who's doing this? Especially in the winter. Come on.
And by the way, this girl is Scream Queen extraordinaire Linnea Quigley, who you may know as Trash, who dances naked in Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, that's who that was.
That's who that is. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
and
that whole scene makes so much more sense about her just refusing to wear her top.
And by the way, this random house, which I'm with you, I kind of wish that like that house would have had some sort of connection, like maybe it was his childhood home or something like that would have made some sort of sense. But yeah, it's a seemingly random house, but that doesn't mean that it isn't freaking awesome.
Yes,
because it's shag carpet from wall to wall, and on said walls is more paneling than you've ever seen in your life, and tiger pictures.
Yes, it looks like your local. Like it looks like, if any, for local people here, like it looks like the bar in Tony's place.
Yeah.
Like that's the house.
I was going to say my dream house, but yeah, it also looks like Tony's place. But yeah, I love this. When you have carpet that is long enough to where you can literally use it to grab and pull yourself away from a killer, like that's just being smart.
Yeah. I love shag carpet. When we moved into this house and like we got nice hardwood floors, we removed the normal carpet. Any area rugs I could get, I'm like, we're getting shag, like shag,
Yes.
big shag area rugs. I love shag carpet.
God bless you.
But yeah, so she dies in. This is probably the best kill in the movie, probably the most memorable
famous
one. Yeah, where
it's a little rubbery, but
it's like it's definitely the most gratuitous. It's slow because he picks her up and sticks her onto this deer head that's on the antlers of this deer head. But it's not how you think where normally they'd violently be shoved on it. No, she's just slowly pushed onto this thing as it's a little rubbery as the antlers start poking out of her stomach. A huge missed opportunity to actually poke through the breast, but whatever. But
yeah, kind of like, yeah, you're right. It's like when you're trying to like assemble a piece of furniture and you're having to thread something onto a bolt.
Yes.
Like he's just lining it up and slowly pushing it. And we get some close up there and, effects a little rubbery, but it doesn't take away from the sort of like, ooh factor.
Right.
Like they drag it out.
And meanwhile, a guy downstairs has heard none of this.
Yeah.
Like there's not even a door. It's just kind of like a basement rec room area with stairs that lead up, to an open room.
And then we get a nice, when they do confront each other, we're like, okay. Like I was kind of like, why do I feel a little bit weird about this watching this scene? And it's like, oh, it's nice because Billy, while deranged or, fragile, is still just a regular dude. Like, maybe this guy can beat him. Like, who knows? It's not like fighting. He's not. Yeah,
Billy kind of gets his ass kicked in this scene a little bit.
But when that poor dude gets thrown out the window, and now we all have a fear of like having to go through a window, and you're worried about glass getting in your face or stepping on it, John McClane style.
Right.
This guy gets the worst possible outcome of glass shard in the body that you could have.
I mean, it's what happens to him is impossible for, even on any stretch. Like he literally has this like 1.5 feet wide by 2 foot long piece sticking out of his abdomen. And then another like big, like 6-inch piece, like jutting out of his face. Like unless he went through glass that was like parallel to his face, there's no way this is happening.
Yeah, you're worried about broken glass, but the piece of glass in his abdomen is big enough to actually make a good sized table out of. Like it's a fucking like 3 foot tall piece of glass.
Yeah, it's enormous.
Yeah.
And it survived the fall, which is the most impressive part, like a whole story. And then we've got a little girl in the house too. And she comes out, she's like, oh, it's Santa. And Billy's like, have you been naughty? She's like, no, dude, I've been real good. And he's like, well, then you get a gift. And her present, a little bloody utility knife. But she still got a present. Yeah. Santa delivered. And it's a Christmas she'll never forget.
Did you think he was going to kill her?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, this movie goes far with the whole kid Santa thing, but just taking a brief pause here to insert, I never feel like it goes too far.
Yeah. I never felt like the kids were in danger ever.
Yeah. No.
Because next, so that's because there are like 2 random ass scenes before we get to the orphanage. Yeah. The first is that. The second is, and I loved this scene. This is a great scene. It makes sense that it was directed by someone else. But you've got 2 guys sledding in the woods. And then like 2 bullies just like pop out of nowhere in the middle of the night, in the middle of the woods. And they like steal the sleds from these guys and then are like, now it's our turn to sled. Like they're just looking for a good time, but they didn't have sleds.
Yeah. And one of them calls one of the kids fuckface, which that's another word that you don't get enough of anymore.
Oh, yes.
Did I ever tell you about the time?
Shit face, fuckface.
Did I ever tell you about the time? I don't know if I've talked about it on the show, but it was early one morning, I was just going out to get the mail, and it was a nice day. Like the sun was coming out, it was starting to warm up. It was early morning, and a car just drove by, and the window went down, and the passenger leaned out of the window and just yelled, "Hey, fuckface!" And I'm like, "Gee, what did I do? Jesus, I'm getting fucking mail. Hey, fuckface!" And then I stood there like a fuckface.
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah. He could tell. Yeah.
But so yeah, we got a great, like, because the first guy makes it down the hill fine, right? And then the second guy, as he's going down, and this hill sucks. Like, they're constantly having to push themselves down the hill. I'm like, this is not fun. They got these cheap ass plastic toboggans. As the second guy's going down, all of a sudden Billy comes out from behind a tree with that axe, yells, "Punish!" and just lops this guy's head off. Which then sets up a great scene as the body's coming down kind of in the shadow, and it hits the bottom with no head.
The best part is that you got to remember the guy at the bottom of the hill who went first has no idea that there's a killer Santa up there. Right. All he knows is like, what the fuck happened? Well, my friend was sledding that now his head got knocked off.
Yeah.
Like, what tree limb? What could have possibly happened?
Yeah, thank God I missed that. Right. And then how does that guy die? I don't remember.
It's not
important, really. Yeah.
I don't either.
He dies in some way.
He dies, okay.
And now it's the next morning, which was weird. I was like, I kind of wanted it to be a full, rampage through the night. It's weird that it's now the next morning.
Yeah.
The cops are kind of alerted to what's going on. The nun has, because the nice nun comes to the toy store to check on him, and sees dead bodies. She's like, I knew it. Damn it.
Where could he go next?
Yes. So she goes to the police station. Now we've got like a lot of cops involved and stuff. And they're like, there's a murderer dressed as Santa, and he's headed for the orphanage. I do love this scene. So you got a cop coming to check out the orphanage, right? And all the kids are playing out front in the dirtiest, shittiest snow I've ever seen in my life. This half melted slush these kids are forced to play in. So this Santa's approaching the orphanage. Cop pulls up, yells, "Hey, stop," once, and then plugs this Santa with like 3 or 4 shots in his back.
Yeah.
Turns out it's the old priest. I'm sure did some abusing himself. So, maybe it was good he got it.
Father O'Brien, of course.
Yeah, of course, Father O'Brien. Who likes to take a nip before bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's just kind of, and here's what I didn't like. Here's where I kind of recognized there wasn't a lot of like tension in this movie or like suspense. And I really felt it here. Like there's a part where one of the cops goes to like, he checks like this bottom basement kind of boiler area. And I just felt, I'm like, well, I know when he's going to spring out. Like everything felt so telegraphed. And I was just like, that's when I realized, I was like, oh, there was really no part in this where I'm like, don't know what's going to happen.
I love how smart you are. I'm gonna tell you something.
That sounds condescending.
No, I really do. It's amazing that you felt that, because the scene that you're talking about is not in the script, and they felt like they needed to add a little something. They needed a scene. So that scene where the other cop that you're talking about comes and he's kind of doing a perimeter search and whatnot.
Yeah.
Completely improvised.
Completely
improvised, not in the script. They didn't know what to do. So they just kind of come up with some stuff. And the guy that the editor / second unit director / director has even said that he really wishes that he could have cut that from the movie, because he feels like the movie loses a lot of momentum, and that the tension, any tension of, oh my God, what's going to happen when Billy shows up, is kind of goes away. So for you to have that same reaction, is you and the director were on the exact same page.
Oh,
like,
perfect.
Yeah. Like it lost something.
Give me a job, Hollywood. Okay, well, good. That explains a lot then. Because yeah, like that was the part where I'm like, maybe I don't like this movie that much. But it is like, it is a fun movie. I'm not taking anything away from it, but yeah, it just was lacking just suspense. But even in other scenes, like, but not as glaring as that. And maybe that's kind of what painted that for me, where then I'm like, well, you know, I get the other scenes are good, but I was never like on the edge of my seat, like what's going to happen, you know? Because you know, but it does set up a great as he jumps out and yells punish and hits this cop with the axe. I love the punish catchphrase.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, this could have been called Punish the Movie because, yeah, he says it a lot.
Yes.
And he gets the cop like real Dick Halloran style, like real just a sideways swing right into the chest.
Yep.
But yeah, then we reach our climax finally, and we're inside the orphanage, and how does that go?
Well, it's like, so here's what's crazy. They know, or they assume Billy's on his way to this orphanage. That's their like best bet as to where he's going to go. The orphanage knows. So what do? They collect everyone there and put him like right in the lobby. And then make them, it's almost like they're baiting him, like, okay, kids, sing Christmas carols. Maybe he'll hear it and it'll draw him out, you know? And these poor kids seem so unenthusiastic singing these Christmas carols. The audio makes it sound better, but their faces are not matching the audio. I can only imagine that's like take 10. And these kids are like, I don't care. But yeah, then one kid just goes and sees Billy and lets him in the door. And then the cops show up and shoot him.
Yeah.
Before he can kill Mother Superior. So it's a very sad ending.
And then you get kind of a missed opportunity there where, I mean, it's cool. They gave the right line to the right person. Billy's younger brother is also at the orphanage, and he sees what happens, and he looks right at Mother Superior, and he's got kind of a mad look in his eye, and he says naughty.
Yeah.
But they kind of just, yeah, it kind of just, it does a little bit of a slower dissolve. It should have been maybe more like a zoom in or something, like to really like hammer that last line home. It's not bad, but
you also don't know that's his brother now, because you do know that his brother is in the orphanage with him. There are scenes where it's like reference that that's his little baby brother or whatnot. But in this scene where it's now, you know, it's 10 years later from the first orphanage scene that we've seen. So obviously the actors are different of the children. So I think it's implied that it's his brother, but I can't say for sure that's his brother, you know, unless I looked in the credits as to what character that kid played. There's no setup to where the kid would be like, hey, my brother is here. Billy, how are you? You know, there's no recognition between the brothers.
Yeah.
That was kind of assumed like the one that would have been crazy then is the brother.
Yeah. That, you know, like maybe if like, you know, even if they had just shared a glance. Is that the kid who
goes to open the door? That would make sense for his brother to go open the door, but I don't think that's the same kid. Well, they certainly don't make it obvious that it's, you know.
No, they might have mentioned, I think they mention his name once or twice, and then they call him by that name in the Ricky. Climax. Yeah, but you really don't follow that very closely. It's easily missed. So yeah, I think a little bit of setup between the two of them at the end would have been something that you would think that they would have done naturally, but yeah, they didn't. But we can't forget, actually, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is right at this time that we're talking about the snowman decapitation, where this was one of the scenes that Michael Spence directed.
Forgot.
And we just get this nice like ground level view of the snowman out front. And then this axe just comes up into frame and it is just dripping.
Yeah, this is after he's just killed the cop.
Yeah. And it's just, the blood is dripping so good. It's almost like animation style. Like it's beautiful. And then he just slices the snowman's head off just for the fuck of it. You know, just because he's not a fan.
Get a good warm-up swing in before he gets inside.
Right.
But yeah, and then the movie ends, and
we got a Christmas
garbage
Carol.
day comes after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a lot of depth to this movie.
No, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the fervor that it caused.
Yes, of course.
And this movie probably would have done a little bit better to fly under the radar until before it got into theaters, but it didn't. It put out some TV ads that were shown during like primetime television hours. And parents lost their minds. And then when the movie came out into theaters, you actually had people picketing with signs, and it was a big fuss, and it was on the news. And famously, Siskel and Ebert just lost their minds, and specifically Gene Siskel.
Gene Siskel, who hates these movies.
He does.
Dude, yeah.
And he goes so far as to list the names of the producers and the writer and the director and say, shame on you. And he says, any dime that you make from this movie is blood money. And
wow,
I think, and now listen, I was part of this probably has to do with the time that we're in right now, where creative people are struggling so badly for work.
Yeah.
But I thought it was such a disgusting abuse of power for Gene Siskel to take people who are doing their damnedest to make their way in their line of business and literally like seek them out specifically and say their names on television, which they had a broad audience of millions of people at that time. And
this is old school doxing.
What's that?
The old school doxing, the doxing is where you like find someone online and like research all their personal information and then release it. Like someone you want to get revenge on. Yeah. This is like, look these specific people up and shame them.
Yes. And that's exactly what he did. Now,
Ebert was just like, 1.5 stars. Not my favorite.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I don't like most things. So yeah. But now here's the thing. I started doing a little bit of research on Gene Siskel. Both of Gene Siskel's parents were dead by the time he was 9 years old. He was an orphan himself.
Really?
Yeah. Now, he wasn't living in a cardboard box or anything. The guy went to Culver Military Academy and on to Yale. So it's not like he was wondering where his next meal was going to come from. But nonetheless, I'm going to be a better man than Gene Siskel and not drag him through the mud as much as I'd like to, because I can't begin to imagine. I can't imagine the psyche of a child whose both of their parents are dead by the time they're 9 years old.
Right.
So when he sees a movie like this, that's about an orphanage and family, because he was also very critical of family movies as well, notoriously. So obviously this guy's got a little bit of baggage, and, professionally, I have no problem with him saying, I think this movie lacks taste and I don't recommend it. Like, okay, fine.
Right.
But to get that personal about it, I think that was an abuse of authority there.
Yeah. Well, he died of cancer, Tim. So, karma came back.
But he did buy.
Punished.
But he did buy. But he did get to own the white suit from Saturday Night Fever. So
he did.
You take the good with the bad.
It's we should save our audience. You and I went to see Jerry Seinfeld once at the Airy Crown Theater at McCormick Place, and afterwards we saw Gene Siskel, and we spent 5 minutes just tailing him without approaching him or talking, just being like, he owns a suit. Should we go talk to him? What do we say? Let's talk about the suit. Right. We never walked up to him. We just followed like 10 feet behind him for 5 minutes.
We were essentially frozen with being starstruck over Gene Siskel.
Yeah. Now, knowing what I know now, would have given a piece of
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, yeah. All right. Gene Siskel. Rip. Rest in peace, buddy.
Yeah.
I did like Gene Siskel. I liked him a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, great guy.
Show I loved. I loved.
No, it was
it
was awesome.
Or sneak previews or whatever.
It was kind of the first of its kind, and it was. I loved watching it. It was great.
Yeah, and I think the banter between those two people are like, oh man, they hated each other, but I don't really think people realize like, they loved each other. Obviously, they were very good friends, but man, they busted each other's balls on that show. So like beyond what the, stereotype people might think who haven't seen it. because it's that dynamic's been played up so much now and parodied.
Right.
Like, no, like they really would just be like, well, you're an idiot for thinking that.
That's true.
I don't know if we watch the same movie, dumbass, fuckface.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay. All right. We've really, it's almost Christmas. We've talked about this movie for so long.
Right.
But that's, so let's wrap this one up. That's Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. Next week, staying in the holiday spirit, Tim, a movie I don't remember. Apparently, and from what I've looked up, people talk about and you even mentioned it, the box art from this. I don't remember the box art for this at all. But from 1980, New Year's Evil.
Yes.
I'm very excited about this one because I watched the trailer and it looks crazy and it looks right up my alley. So I can't wait for this one. So that's next week. Please, follow us on Instagram at Slumber Podcast Massacre. Our email is slumberpodcast@gmail.com. Our Patreon is /Slumber Podcast Massacre. Huge thanks to all our patrons. You help make this possible. Tim, we might thinking about we might have a website coming up. We got some patron bank that we can maybe make a website now. So
that's awesome.
Nice. So I can put all this info on the website. Just be like, check out our website.
We can have like names for our follow, like a little nickname for our followers.
Oh yeah.
Fuckface,
slumbies, fuckfaces. Yeah.
No, you're not fuckfaces. We love you.
Okay.
Slumbies. I like slumbies.
Slumbies. Our hardcore slumbies. Okay, so that's next week. Tim, do you got anything else to say about Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Well, I mean, normally this is where I'd say punish, but it's already been said so many times. I'm just going to say happy holidays to you. I love you. To all of our listeners, thank you so much for listening. Your participation in this show and support of it is the greatest present that anyone could ever ask for. Thank you.
Yes, I also wish everyone a happy holidays. Please stay safe. Like probably a very difficult phone conversation I had with my mom where I'm like, we're not coming over, Mom. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people are having those conversations this year. It's going to be a struggle. But please make it through the holidays safe. And I'm sure, Timmy, we got a vaccine on the way. It's an exciting time. 2021, fingers crossed, is a little better. And hopefully everyone will have a massive, awesome Christmas in 2021 where we're just touching each other constantly. All right, Timmy, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, buddy. We'll see you later.
Merry Christmas, slumbies! Fuckface! But mainly Slumpy.